basically be doing some more Star Wars reacts. And Star Wars is cool, and people are dope, and I like Jedi. Sith and Sith are better than Jedi because cool. Um, watching ranking Jedi from best to worst, part of me really hopes Anakin is number one. In theory, saved the Jedi, kind of. No, not kind of. He did. He killed the Emperor, kind of, unsuccessfully. Or in retrospect, unsuccessfully, based on 3 extra movies that probably wouldn't have existed. So technically, could have saved the Jedi. I'm stop fucking playing with X. The new cameras in a different angle now.
Have you ever thought about who the worst Jedi are? And no.
They're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna say no and no Ray or they're gonna blame Ray. I was gonna say fucking. Pretty sure worst Jedi was. Who do we think the worst Jedi? Adi Mundo. Just because I only know his name and I don't know anything else he did, and he was in Battlefront 2 and he was annoying. And I felt like he had the worst horsepower was in Battlefront 2, if I remember correctly. We're making shit up, but we're picking on him. Hopefully, that's just the truth.
Oh, Rey doesn't count. I think the worst Jedi in all of Star Wars is Pong Krell. You have to be a different kind of evil to make clones fight each other just for the sake of it. No one's as bad as Pong Krell.
But he had 4 lightsabers, so cool. He goes up instantly because that he has 4 lightsabers.
Barriss Offee is definitely close. Barriss didn't like the Jedi Order, which honestly I can understand. But then
so she didn't like the Jedi Order, is also using red lightsabers. Okay, look, my Clone Wars knowledge is horseshit. I'm actually trying to find somewhere to watch that. I'm assuming I can watch it on fucking Disney Plus, but then that means I have to subscribe to Disney Plus. So there is that problem in my life. But hey, does this mean she gets turned and then, or she was a Jedi then got turned, or was some I don't know. I don't want to say Sith because probably not a Sith, but like Dark Jedi and then became a good Jedi.
Then she decides the best thing to do is to bomb the Jedi Temple. And then on top of
I mean, at least bitch stuck to her convictions. You don't get much more hardcore than don't like Jedi, bomb Jedi Temple. Like, extremists kind of take a lot of conviction. I think she deserves some kind of respect for that level of insane conviction.
that, she frames Ahsoka for the crime.
I mean, Mastermind Criminal surely puts her up 1 or 2 spots. She did something. I feel like there's a lot of other Jedi that I don't feel like did anything.
Ends up being the reason Ahsoka leaves the Order, and obviously we're never going to forgive Barriss for it. Unlike
Well, I mean, in fairness, Ahsoka was an auxiliary character that was invented for Clone Wars kind of thing. She had no place in any of the movies, so she at some point had to not be part of something. I mean, just because she had a cool series does not mean she gets to claim like privilege.
Barriss, Dooku went about things the right way. Instead of bombing the temple,
Excuse me? Count Dooku went about things the right way, became the fucking apprentice to Emperor Palpatine, but he did it the right way, guys.
he left the Order. Unfortunately, he let the dark side corrupt him anyway, and he became Palpatine's apprentice.
How does that not put him much lower down? He literally, apart from becoming the leader of this, he could not get high up on that scale. He pretty much got as high as he could be. Like, I feel like that can't count as good Jedi when literally, what is the opposite of Jedi? Sith. Okay, cool. Well, I'll be basically the second from the top leader of that, or amount of against the teachings of we learned.
Similar to Dooku, Baylan Skoll also lost faith in the Jedi Order. After Order 66,
The fuck is that, homie?
he stopped following the Jedi Code and opted to dabble in the dark side of the Force, which is why his lightsaber is orange, not red. Despite being a dark Jedi, though, Baylan
Oh, okay. Ahsoka show.
still seemingly has good motives sometimes, as he seeks to bring balance to the Force. He just goes about it in all the wrong ways.
Also, I have to watch that show at some point, but that means I have to subscribe to Disney Plus, and that means I have to subscribe to Disney Plus.
Speaking of Dark Jedi, I have to mention Quinlan Vos. Vos is definitely the most erratic and interesting.
No, Quinlan Vos had a pretty cool story. I don't know if he was also necessarily a dark Jedi or just out for his own means. Had a cool comic series, fun fact. Was definitely worth a read. It was a cool little character. I thought actually kind of like Quinlan Vos.
Jedi, to say the least. He has an eccentric personality.
Oh, okay, he's apparently in Clone Wars. That's me not having watched Clone Wars again. I feel like I'm still not going to know half these fucking people and make comments that make no sense. So here we go.
Which we see put into action with his unorthodox methods, unlike that of any other Jedi. At some point in the Clone Wars, he fell to the dark side and actually tried to become Dooku's apprentice.
Yeah, but then he comes back and then he has a cool little story arc and he's fun and stuff. I forgive him.
Somehow, through a random series
I mean, also, homie had dreads and cool face paints. Plus, he had a yellow lightsaber later on, so fuck that noise.
of events that
Cool score, higher up.
aren't shown in the Clone Wars show, he actually comes back to the Jedi Council and keeps fighting until Order 66. We don't know what happens to him after that, but it is thought that he survived. But Coleman Trebor didn't even come
Okay, it would be legend stuff. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure the whole story arc I'm referring to in the comics is the whole after Order 66 vibes. Which would then put him at, that would be legend shit, so I guess there's that.
close to surviving Order 66. In his only appearance in Attack of the Clones, Jango Fett takes him out in 2 shots.
How was this homie not lower? Literally least impactful, fucking boring. In fairness to him, he did try to be hardcore and jump the big bad evil guy and then gets fucked. Level 1 characters meet big bad evil guy on street. Attempts to backstab, gets instantly killed.
Another Jedi that got killed.
I feel like everyone has had a D&D campaign where that happens, where big bad evil guy, you see him and you're like, nah, sure he's not the big bad evil guy, and then he casts Disintegrate on you.
Way too easily was Kit Fisto's
What is Integration Ray? Whatever that one's called, where you just instantly die.
former Padawan Nadar Veb. In a duel with Grievous, Nadar Veb gave Grievous an opening to shoot him in the chest with one of his extra arms. It's a stupid way to go, but honestly, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I feel like, shame. People didn't know how to deal with four-handed man, apart from could have trained against four-handed Jedi man that made clone troopers fight each other.
I love seeing Grievous in action. Jedi Master Stas Ali manages to die in an even stupider way, though. She dies in Order 66 while riding her bark speeder, unaware of the clone's betrayal. I mean, come on. She doesn't even move when both of her wingmen drop back.
Yeah, no, bitch should be lower down. Literally, your whole point is you trained in the Force, trains to be hyper-vigilant, notice every little fucking thing. Homies pull off you, and you just carry on going forward. Nah, I agree, bitch. She should be lower down.
There is not a thought in those eyes.
Also, apparently not very good with
She
Force.
has absolutely no clue what's going on. Jedi Master Halsey definitely died a much better death than Stas Ali, but he was pretty dumb as well. When Savage attacks the Jedi Temple on Deveron, Master Halsey
I know, if you lost to Savage, he's okay in my book. Savage and... Fuck, what's his brother? Darth Maul? Jesus, his brother. I think were cool characters, so if you die to them, you straight away high up the list because of cool factor.
bravely goes out to fight Savage, but in about 3 seconds, Savage knocks away Halsey's lightsaber with his staff. No lightsaber needed. Now this is the part where any smart person would have ran away and maybe gotten their lightsaber back, especially in this case. After all, Savage is
Yeah, he's looking dumb and dumb. I might take back everything I've just
3
said.
times the size of this guy. But no, Halsey thinks he can go body for body with Savage in hand-to-hand combat, so of course Savage wins.
Well, I mean, he's watched some cool video on TikTok once or twice where it's like, oh, I'm training martial arts, I can fuck up the big guy. And then they see some weird, he's watched a bunch of Kung Fu movies. The skinny guy kills like 4 big oaks and he's like, I can do that shit. We literally saw him pull out the Kung Fu moves.
That's the only thing that's left to defend the
I mean, everyone's watched Goku vs. Jiren. Jiren was clearly bigger than Goku.
temple.
And I mean, if you watched it, Goku kind of won. If you read the manga, he didn't kind of win. But you guys know what I mean.
Halsey's Padawan, Nox. But Nox manages to die the quickest death I've ever seen in Star Wars. I'll cut him a break though, since he is just a Padawan.
Nah, yeah, I feel like that's not so bad. I mean, homie was... he killed my master, I'm going to kill him now. And then just got instantly force pushed into the door, I'm assuming. Or just got fucking, like, door kicked. Fucking when you take down a door, I don't know what that's called. A big front foot in your face and you just went flying.
Which reminds me, Nox isn't actually on this list, because I'm not going to include any younglings or Padawans on this list.
I feel like that's a good call. I support that decision. Padawans are bullshit. And plus, I mean, they don't really do anything. Okay, apart from maybe Ahsoka, and you can't really count Anakin because he's not a Padawan. Or was a Padawan, then not a Padawan. He has to surely be on this list. I'm just saying, please make him number 1, because in the end, he technically saves everyone.
With Barriss and a few others being exceptions. I'm basing my rankings off of how powerful these Jedi are,
Do all the things.
how well they follow the light side of the Force, and how much they do in Star Wars movies and TV shows. So in case you're wondering,
If it's how much they follow the light side of the... What about, does he put in cool factor? I mean, instantly, Mace Windu, purple lightsaber, my favorite color, instantly goes high up on the list because of cool factor. No one gives a fuck if he was useless.
no, I'm not going to be ranking every single Jedi that appeared in all the movies. I don't want to go through the Battle of Geonosis and identify every single Jedi, or we'd be here for weeks.
Yeah, no, I agree with this, homie. Just pick up the big ones that we know the names of.
But back to the ranking.
Or at least the ones that have some level of relevance.
We've still got a lot of Jedi to go, though. Like this man, Yarl Pooth. And no, he's not actually a Kaminoan. Let me explain. Basically, George
Excuse me?
Lucas got the idea to introduce Kamino in episode 2. In the concept art, they happen to look like Yarl Pooth. The problem is, the Kaminoans are supposed to be completely unknown to the Jedi. So what's the solution then?
Okay, fair enough. So he's a sister race. That sounds so racist. I'll take everything back I've just said. He's from a planet close by. Don't know if I'm helping myself or making things worse, so we're just going to move swiftly on.
Well, let's just say Yarl disappeared on a mission, and he's some random species that's not Kaminoan. And for good measure, we'll replace him with Coleman Trebor, of all people. Anyway, Yarl Poof seems like he could have been a cool character, but at the end of the day, he doesn't really do anything, which is why he's here on this list.
Oh boy, Kierimundi. Kierimundo? Kierimundi? Can't remember.
Just like Oppo Rancis, another unique-looking Jedi, to say the least. Oppo Rancis
Ooh, babe, Twi'lek in the back.
was also on the council like Poof. He just gets to sit there way longer than Poof, all the way through Revenge of the Sith until Order 66. We don't know what happened to him, so I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get something from him in the future. Jedi Master Tiplar had the unfortunate luck of having Order 66 executed early on her of all people. Yes, she's the Jedi Tup kills in the Clone Wars. Aside from this moment, Tiplar doesn't really do anything, but clearly she was pretty powerful.
Well, she looked cool and she seemed like she was pretty good. And I mean, she died not atrociously. And also, if there was no shift in the Force to signal the fact that the clone troopers were going to go against her, she got killed before all of that. I mean, not her fault. Question mark.
She was a high-ranking Jedi general who led an elite force of clones under Commander Dooku. These guys have really cool armor, by the way. Her sister Tipley lives on after Ringo Vinda, but she is killed by Dooku while fighting Darth Maul's Shadow Collective shortly before Maul took Mandalore.
Okay, fuck. I need to watch this show. I don't know if this is actually Rebels or Clone Wars.
Jedi Master Bola Rapal was also killed on Dooku's orders, but by Cad Bane. He was captured by Bane while trying to protect a holocron. Not a good look for a Jedi, but at least he died heroically by not giving up the holocron's information. Yet another Jedi who was killed by
I mean, he could slightly be high on the list because he tried to at least resist it.
Dooku is Master Yaddle. She's the female cattle.
They couldn't come up with a more unique name than Yaddle. Sometimes I really worry about people that make shows.
Part to Yoda. She sat on the Jedi
Completely not needed, just saying.
Council until she fought Dooku in a duel, where Dooku completely destroyed her. I'm starting to see a trend here. If you cross Dooku, good luck with that, my.
Also, Dooku fucking apparently big bad evil guy fucking slays the whole world. See why Anakin lost the first time. Or this, and, well, second time. Second time could be quite interesting whether or not it was planned for him to lose. So, hear me out. Random fan theory. The grand evil plan, obviously, of trying to get Anakin to progress into becoming Darth Vader, or becoming at least not even necessarily Darth Vader, but apprentice to Emperor Palpatine. Would Dooku's radical ideological views of how the world, because obviously, yes, haven't gone Jedi into Sith to that level of Sith where he was apprentice to Palpatine, Darth Sidious, whatever the fuck. Would he have been able to be convinced that he needed to lose to Anakin in order to get that ideological victory that he wanted? Would he have been willing to be the scapegoat in the Emperor's plans? To be the catalyst to create that break in Anakin to destroy the Jedi Order? Just a thought.
Tera Sinub was also on the Jedi Council with Yaddle for a time. Surprisingly, he decided to step down from his position and trained younglings instead. He gets his big moment in the Clone Wars show, when he randomly decides
I don't feel like this is going to be a big moment.
to go along and help Ahsoka.
Okay, cool side character. Got you. Tags along with, I don't know if she was a main character, a side character, or counts as like a secondary antagonist.
Find her lightsaber. A massive chase through Coruscant ensues, and Tera Sinub duels and defeats the thief. If it weren't for him, Ahsoka would have been in big trouble. Sadly, at some point along the way after Order 66, Tera Sinub was killed. In Kenobi episode
That wasn't even that hardcore. I feel like you could have done a bit better with that.
Episode 4, Obi-Wan finds a bunch of Jedi bodies that had been petrified and were on display. Tera Sinub was among them. Jedi Master Kelleran Beck also worked with Jedi younglings. Ironically, he was introduced in a Star Wars kids show called the Jedi Temple
You're like, what the fuck was that? That doesn't look like, from what I've seen of the Ahsoka show.
Challenge. So he's the only Jedi that can say he hosted a TV game show. But he did actually do something.
He was a host on a TV game show for kids. Not even, I thought, when they had said kids show, I thought they meant show specifically targeting children. Like there's facets to both, I think, Clone Wars and Rebels that people can argue they could be for adults, especially with amounts of death and war and blah, 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 blah. Or at least teenagers, I would say. I mean, I remember watching it watching pieces of it in between shows and Cartoon Network as a teen. I don't know how old I was. I don't know what age teenager is supposed to be.
Something way more important than that, though. He personally saved Grogu from Order 66, so we have Keller and Beck to thank for the entire plot of the
He saves fake Yoda. Got you.
Mandalorian series, basically. And as far as we know, he may still be alive, so we may hear from him again in the future. Next, we've got a confusing pair of Jedi, but don't worry, I got you. Jedi Masters Agent Kolar and Eth Koth are both from the same species. They both look the exact same, and both served on the Jedi Council. Eth Koth was on the Council until Revenge of the Sith, when suddenly he was replaced by Agent Kolar. The reason for this is because Eth Koth's actor couldn't be in Revenge of the Sith, and I guess George Lucas was too lazy to change anything about the character except for his name. Eth Koth's story is that he stepped down from his seat on the council and left
Do they really look exactly the same?
the Order so that he could go start a family. Eventually, Vader hunted him down and killed him. While he was in the Order, Eth Koth was a pretty mid-Jedi. He nearly died at Geonosis, and in the Clone Wars show, the main thing he did was get captured by Grievous. Agent Kolar doesn't
I'm just saying, Kit Fisto better be pretty high on this list because Kit Fisto was, I think, every child's fucking moment of that's a cool Jedi. And I'm pretty sure he had a big role in one of the games.
do anything notable either, except he got to be saber fodder for Palpatine when the Jedi came to arrest him. In my humble opinion,
That wasn't even saber fodder. That was literally dude just got fucking stabbed almost instantly.
Agent Kolar shouldn't exist at all, but whatever. Jedi Master Sacy-10 was next to Agent Kolar when he died, so it only makes sense that I put Master 10 here. He was a
I
great
agree.
Jedi in many respects, and he was known as one of, if not the best starfighter pilot in the Order. We see that on display when he helps rescue Anakin and Obi-Wan from the Citadel prison. Like Agent Kolar, he also served on the Council, which is a clear indication of his commitment to the Order. Unfortunately, right after Agent Kolar, Sacy-10 gets destroyed by Palpatine in one hit, so that really hurts his chances of being ranked higher.
Okay.
The reason Sacy-10 came to the Citadel in the first place was because Master Evan Piel had been imprisoned there. Master Piel was an irregular Jedi because he was so down to earth. He often spoke in blunt, straightforward terms
What the fuck do you mean so down to earth for a Jedi? I don't understand like the reference.
because he didn't believe in the bureaucracy of the Senate and the Jedi Order. Unlike most Jedi, he related
So he just said what he thought. Kind of reminds me of a lot of other characters that just said what they thought.
to many common people and was easily able to make friendships with them because of this sentiment. As a result, he was much closer to the Force in a way many Jedi weren't. Although he was a seasoned
How? Please explain. He was close to the Force because he was a bit of a blunt prick that liked other people.
veteran, by the time of the Clone Wars, Master Piel was actually really old. That's why he ended up getting captured and imprisoned at the Citadel, and eventually he died there. Master Adi Gallia also made friends with many common people in the Republic because she was born on Coruscant. She was used to going through
I don't understand. Okay. You're supposed to be taken as a youngling. You're taken as a small child. I don't know if baby fits or if it's still just like toddler vibes, little kid. Because Anakin was too old, which means kind of who the fuck did she know as a fucking toddler or baby that built good relationships because I was born on Coruscant. You can be fucking born anyway and taking them from a child doesn't mean you know people.
the numerous levels of Coruscant, interacting with all kinds of people. This gave her a much broader perspective than most Jedi, who were more often than not were closed off and stayed at the temple all the time. As such, she became a great diplomat, and she
Wouldn't that just be she kind of fucking ran away from the temple a lot of times and then that's how she met people, not I was born on Coruscant?
always sought to negotiate first rather than fight. However, this meant that she didn't train with her lightsaber nearly as much as she should have. When she faced Savage on
In fairness, the Jedi weren't necessarily supposed to be like soldiers, so I mean, you can't really blame them for that. They were supposed to be fucking mediators, basically.
Forum, she was completely unprepared and died when Savage headbutted her in the stomach. Let's get away
That's a pretty, like... The shit way to die, but as finishers go, getting fucking gouged by the horns in his head, pretty dope finisher by Savage, just saying.
from some lame Jedi Council members for a bit, though. How about Cal Kestis? Now, I know
Cal... 20. Really? 20. Homie has 2 games, destroyed half of the fucking Night Sisters, helps a bunch of people, has so much fucking content and story around him, also actually has 2 good games, which is not a given for a lot of Star Wars things. So, 2 good games, destroyed a lot of the sisters, reawoke fucking whatever her old lady name was, I can't remember her person. fucking
Some of you are
20.
saying, but Eli, how can you put Cal above Jedi who were literally on the council? Yeah,
Fuck the council. He did stuff. They did nothing, half of them.
fair enough. But I think part of being a good Jedi isn't all about what you do in the Order. After all, the reason Jedi Order collapsed is because it got corrupted. It was less of a way of life and more of an institution. We see Cal's growth in Fallen Order and that he's clearly good at heart, with good intentions behind his actions. He also has numerous unique force powers, like Force Stasis and his special connection with nature and animals. He's also proficient in pretty much any lightsaber style. He's able to fight with one lightsaber as well as two, or
I forgot fucking one-armed homie that he also beat. He saved the fucking world and he's at 20. Okay, I don't know if I saved the world might be extreme. I don't know how. It's been a while since we played that game. I don't know what the ramifications are if homie starts off that weird destroyer vibe thing. But 20, fuck.
blades with equal skill in all. With that in mind, now you might be wondering why he's not higher on this list. And the reason for that is we don't know the rest of Cal's story yet. No spoilers, but Cal is having some trouble with the dark side.
He has done more, regardless of troubles with the dark. I also feel like troubles with the dark side is excessive. In his 2 games, and most of these people on this entire fucking list, aside from what 3 main characters, and maybe you can say argue fucking Mace Windu or Yoda because they're the main fucking like the central figures of the Jedi.
Don't get me wrong, that's okay to an extent, but it's unclear how far Cal will go with that, so we'll have to wait for the sequel to Jedi Survivor to find out. But Cal wouldn't have gotten as far as he did in his Jedi training if it weren't for his master, Seer Junda. Now, to be fair, Cal and many
How the fuck is this bitch 19? In fairness, she did. This was the older one. She did help him. I
ways
can't
far
give it.
stronger than Seer, but I don't think we can definitively say that until after the 3rd Jedi game comes out. And Seer is very powerful in her own right. She possessed numerous force powers and was clearly very well connected to the Force. Unfortunately,
And in fairness, she did also act almost as a catalyst for reigniting Cal's like path of the light side, I guess you can kind of call it that. But you know, putting him on the right path to get accomplished what he needed to accomplish in the games. And that counts for a lot, I'm sure.
I can't rank her any higher because of her tendency to slip into the dark side. She had her heroic moment where she allowed herself to be
To slip into the dark side, I don't remember her really slipping to the dark side in any of the games.
captured by the Empire in order to save some younglings, but none of that mattered as she succumbed to torture from Darth Vader. After seeing her Padawan turned into an Inquisitor, she flew into a fit of rage and killed a ton of Imperials at the facility where she was being held. However, she didn't fall to the dark completely, and she definitely redeemed herself by joining the Mantis crew and training Cal. Should Cal and Seer be higher on my list, or is this a good ranking? Go let me know in the comments.
I think
The
Cal
next is a Jedi
definitely
we don't really know
fucking
much about at
higher.
all, but his actions are pretty much what sets the entire Star Wars saga into motion. That person is Master Sifo Dyas. And no, that's not an alias for Darth Sidious. This guy was an actual Jedi that wasn't working for the Sith. He had the gift of foresight, and he saw the war coming to the Republic. He thought the Jedi would need an army. Obviously, the Jedi didn't like that, so they kicked him off the council. Sifo Dyas said screw that and hired the Kaminoans on his own to make an army.
Oh, so this is the homie that gets blamed for... This is the plot hole filler of how the fuck did all of this happen and where did it all happen? A plot hole filler. Okay.
Anyway, but this is where it gets interesting. Remember how I said not to cross Dooku? Sifo Dyas made the mistake of telling Dooku about his plan to start an army, and at this point Dooku was already working for Sidious. So Dooku hired people to shoot down Sifo Dyas' ship, and he died in the crash. That allowed Sidious to take over the production of the army and add the inhibitor chips along the way. So the way I see it, Sifo Dyas had it right all along. He just had terrible luck. And even if he didn't really have screen time, aside from a couple moments in the Clone Wars show, I think he deserves to get ranked up here. In my 17th spot, I've got Ezra Bridger. Some of you might hate me for this
This is the Rebels, motherfucker.
but let me explain myself. First of all, I think we can all agree that
I never watched the show, so I really don't know what to say about that.
Ezra has a lot of potential. He's clearly very powerful, but at the same time, he hasn't received the same level of training that many Jedi experienced, so he's definitely behind in that sense. Because of that, Ezra has a tendency to lean towards the dark side. He often acts in a brash, reckless manner, which is something someone who's truly in the light side would not do. Sure, he didn't give in to Maul or any of the other temptations he faced in the Rebel show.
It also looks like a fucking very cheap toy.
But I still think the fact stands. In the same way, Ezra might have also given in to the dark side in all the time he spent with Thrawn after Lothal, although we don't know that for certain yet, but Thrawn is definitely a very convincing guy. Also, if I'm being honest with you guys, I just don't like Ezra all that much. I always found his character annoying. Sure, for most of the Rebel show, he's just a kid, but still, that really got on my nerves. Another character I also find annoying is Master Ki-Adi-Mundi, except I
Hey, why is he so high?
think I've got a legit reason for disliking him, as a person and as a Jedi. First of all, the Jedi are supposed to be
He was shit in Battlefront 2.
free
We've
from
discussed this
attachments,
already.
but Ki-Adi-Mundi had 5 wives, strictly on the basis that his species needed him to reproduce. Like I said in my Jedi
How was that a negative? Homie gets to fucking have his way with whoever the fuck he wants because we need to reproduce, bitch. You into this? And then she consents. Consent being important. And then he gets it. Fucking homie is basically saving the world by fucking one bitch at a time. He gets to be higher because of that. He literally is the epitome of every man's dream.
Council video, he used all of his big head to come up with that one.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
He also led the Galactic Marines, a clone force known for its excessive brutality and aggressive fighting style. As
They were technically also,
the saying goes, I think a group takes on the traits of its leader, which speaks volumes of Ki-Adi-Mundi's true personality. And whether you believe in Star Wars war crimes or not,
it was hardcore and actually worth it.
Mundi's use of flamethrowers is totally unnecessary, and it definitely brought unnecessary pain to the Geonosians, which is completely against the Jedi way. Mundi also clearly wasn't very in tune with the Force. I think Qui-Gon had the right idea, in that the Force is a living force that guides your life and your actions. Ki-Adi-Mundi instead believed in logic alone, which was clearly a blind spot in his connection to the light side of the Force. We see this blind use of logic play out when Ahsoka is framed for the bombing of the Jedi Temple. Mundi was the most vocal in condemning Ahsoka. His reason? Pure logic.
This guy just seems like he really fucking loves Ahsoka.
Ahsoka was with the bomber at the time of her death, so that sealed it for Mundi. He had no intention of giving Ahsoka any benefit of the doubt or to try to look at the situation from another angle, like Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, or Anakin did. All of this culminates to my main point. Ki-Adi-Mundi isn't that good of a Jedi because he's not a true follower of the light side of the Force, and within the Jedi Order institution itself, he doesn't even follow the Jedi Code very well at all. Next up, I've got Jedi Master Luminara Unduli. She has a ton of bad luck in her appearances in the Clone Wars show. She has to dual Ventress with one eye, she gets
This bitch, doesn't she just always get fucking jumped by the whole world?
captured by Geonosian zombies, and her Padawan Barriss turns to the dark side. So with that in mind, I know you want to know why she's so high on this list. I think in many ways, Luminara is a female version of Obi-Wan, who I consider to be the model of what a true Jedi is. Just like Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan is what a model of a true Jedi is? I feel like that's a little bit questionable.
Luminara is reserved, patient, and extremely disciplined. She had complete control
Also, she's a cool headdress thing.
of her emotions, and she didn't hold any unnecessary attachments. She wasn't afraid of death, as she understood that when the time came, it would be the will of the Force. Even after being disarmed by Ventress, or facing the prospect of being controlled by zombie worms, she wasn't afraid. She kept a cool head.
What the fuck happened in the Clone Wars show that they have zombie worms, or worms that turn you into zombies? I have so many questions about how that plotline went through for a show that was supposed to be for kids. So guys, we've got this brilliant idea for our kids show. Worms that are supposed to crawl into your brain and then turn you into zombies. Like, have you seen those things going around on fucking social media where where they hold a mantis in water and then this big weird worm motherfucker comes out of it and they're like, oh, it's a zombie worm that controls the mantis. We need to do that in our kids show, but to Jedi. I really worry about the writing room on that one.
And always tried to look out for others above herself. She wasn't as proficient as some Jedi in lightsaber combat, as she preferred peaceful negotiations over a fight. Ultimately, Luminar's lack of fighting ability...
I feel like every second person is their preferred fucking negotiating and trying to settle it peacefully, like how you're supposed as a Jedi, then using your lightsaber. It's almost like that's what they were, you know, mentally conditioned to do.
As she was captured and executed by Inquisitors after Order 66. While fighting should never be a Jedi's first option, being a good duelist is absolutely necessary to carrying out Jedi duties, so I can't rank Luminara any higher for that reason. Luminara was also very modest, opting to wear simple black robes that covered everything except for her face. So Ayla Secura's outfit comes in sharp contrast to Luminara.
That's who that was. Also, good choice of music. I mean, that's where we're all looking, let's be honest.
George Lucas really had a thing for Twi'leks, that's for sure. Ayla Secura
I mean, in fairness, didn't everyone kind of have a thing for Twi'leks?
was a role model for Ahsoka in many ways. Ayla was a great fighter and leader, commanding the 327th across numerous battlefields like
apart from the fact where her Padawan also turns to the dark side.
Gnosis, Quell, and Felucia. Sakura believed in a balance between the discipline of Luminara and the recklessness of Anakin. She jokingly told Admiral Yularen that only the good Jedi are reckless. In contrast to that side of her, she also displays great discipline in her relationships. Her master Quinlan Vall
Is Ahsoka a Twi'lek? Does it look like one? But I don't know if there's also like... She kind of has the same look. Google's gonna fucking hate me when I type in fucking race into Google. Ahsoka race. Okay, she's not. I didn't think she was, in fairness. Most short was the other... She's a... Jesus. Togruta? Toguta? Togruta? Something? In fairness, she did look... I did think she was... I'm sure there's other characters that are similar race to her. I think of who I'm thinking of.
As he would later fall to the dark side. When Ayla realized this, she distanced herself from him. Surprisingly, Ayla
Also, when I say her prince fell to the dark side, I'm talking about the character from Star Wars Force Unleashed, which I don't know if that technically... I don't think that falls in canon anymore. I think that would be Legends, because I think that was pre-Disney. Can't remember who her apprentice was in that. Apparently, no, it does not want to show me who I'm talking about. Shakti, though, is the one I was thinking of, that the Jedi. The fuck does it not want to give me what I'm looking for? Boss. Is it Shakti that I'm thinking of and I'm getting that confused with Ayla Sakura? Maris Brood is who I'm thinking of. She's Shakti's apprentice. Okay, so that I just fucked up. That's my bad, guys. Shakti is at least... This is what I'm talking about, by the way. Trying to find... There we go. That's not where I want to go. But that exact chick from The Force Unleashed. That is what I was remembering. And that is Shakti, who is the same, I'm assuming the same race as Ahsoka. And that is the thing who was confusing with Ayla Sakura. Which I guess that's me being wrong. Or racist.
Ayla noticed
or
this in
colorist.
Ahsoka's relationship with Anakin. Ayla told Ahsoka that she should learn to let go of her relationship with Anakin for the greater good. Turns out Ayla was right.
Doesn't Ayla die like 3 different times?
And unlike most Jedi, Ayla was extremely compassionate and sympathetic to her clone subordinates. She had a close relationship with Commander Bly and her other officers, which makes her death at Order 66 that much more emotional to watch. This next Jedi survived Order 66, but she was so important that Sidious sent Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor himself to hunt her down. You probably never even think about this Jedi, because her role in the Jedi Order seems unimportant.
Shakti.
It's the Chief Librarian, Jocasta.
Oh, fuck, I
Time
forgot
we see
about her.
Especially in the Phantom Menace and in the Clone Wars show, Jocasta Nu is very, very old. Her force powers have diminished, and she's not the best in lightsaber combat,
But she probably holds all the fucking lore, the knowledge, and the ability to build the knowledge to create a Jedi Order again. Like, in fairness, she's the brains behind the operation, basically. It's like the explain what anything about After Order
He still
66.
has much to offer. As head of the Jedi Archives, Jocasta Nu controlled the single biggest vault of information in the galaxy. She knew where the information on anything and everything was located in the archives, and she knew many things by her own memory and intuition. Sidious himself even noted that she held more knowledge than anyone else in the galaxy. She personally taught extremely wise individuals like Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku everything they knew. As such, she had a
Yeah, I don't know if saying she taught Count Dooku everything he knew is the right way to go with that statement, but is what it is, I
close
guess.
relationship with Qui-Gon, and shared many of his views on the Force, which displays her true connection to the light side, unlike most Jedi. Somehow, despite her old age and the fact that she was centrally located in the Jedi Temple, Jocasta Nu escaped Order 66 and managed to take a bunch of holocrons with her. Unfortunately, the Empire found her eventually, but she was still able to put up a short fight against Vader. Interestingly enough, the Empire wasn't going to kill her, but it turns out that she knew Vader was Anakin Skywalker. She told this to Vader and a bunch of his troopers, so naturally Vader killed her and all of her men that heard it to
What was the point of sending everyone after her?
protect his identity. Still, though, Jocasta Nu showed a lot of courage and bravery in facing Vader alone like that. But
Also,
Jedi
didn't
Master
okay, I
Ama-Gun
suppose I was gonna say, didn't everyone know it was Anakin Skywalker? I guess time, yes, but over time, no. Leading to the big fucking reveal that no one knew.
He may have even taught her bravery. While he only appears in one Clone Wars episode, what little
We're getting down to top 10 though.
of Master D is downright awesome, and he clearly exemplifies many of the best traits a Jedi should have. We can tell in his heroics at Ryloth that he was not only a great leader, but an intelligent and compassionate one as well. He is well respected and loved by the clones under his command, and he drew up a plan that bought the Twi'leks enough time to escape. Master D could have easily not cared about the Twi'leks, and once the Republic's air support was cut, I'm sure Master D knew that he and his forces were totally doomed. But rather than retreat or surrender, he met the Separatists head-on. He was completely willing to selflessly sacrifice himself for them. I think all of those things speak volumes about him as a Jedi, not to mention his fighting ability, as he took on an army of droids by himself. Master D was clearly in tune with the light side of the Force, as he was willing to go wherever the Force took him. The Force sure took Anakin some crazy places.
I'm just pointing out, well, just before they say that, homie just got killed by droids. Just saying.
This is going to be a hot take, but I'm ranking Anakin in the 11th spot on this list.
Ooh, this is gonna be spicy. I think this would be the okay, apart from Cal Kestis, but that's personal. I think this is probably gonna be the biggest divisive one. One, putting him at 11, either too high or too low, I think, for most people.
Some of you are going to be mad that I didn't put him higher. To that, I say,
Ooh, yes, we're gonna be mad. I would put him number 1.
hey, Anakin just wasn't that good of a Jedi. He turned to the dark side for one thing, and he
But he came back. Also, in fairness, he had the coolest robes. Just saying.
definitely committed some more crimes.
As a fucking younger person when the movies came out, one, Phantom Menace was cool when you were a kid. Fucking anyone who argues that if you were a child, by child I mean anywhere younger than maybe, I would say younger than 18, when you don't understand the nuance of storytelling, the originals was way too old for you to have any kind of nostalgic attachment and defense over them. So you didn't know any better. You just thought pod racing was fucking dope and this kid was better than everyone else and he could be the best Jedi. If you are going to... No one deserves to argue me on that, because if you were at that right age bracket, that was some of the dopest, coolest shit you had ever fucking seen.
Along the way. And he had a serious attachment issue with Padme. So
Okay, homie might have been getting some calls to the police if they were in the real world, but let's be calm now.
he broke numerous parts of the Jedi Code. To those of you saying I should put him even lower, here's the deal. Whether you like it or not,
He saved the entire Jedi Order.
Anakin is the chosen one, and that is significant. Let's face it, the bad that Anakin does
That is something that is also, okay, not a hot take. That is also something so many people have issues with, and I 100% agree with that statement. Anakin is the chosen one. He brought balance back to the Force. When he saved the Jedi Order, he did all of that. He was the chosen one. Not in the way we all thought, but he was.
is outweighed by the good he does throughout the war, saving countless worlds from the Separatists. He was the biggest hero the Jedi had, the best starfighter pilot, fighter, you name it.
I love how they've now called the second person the best starfighter pilot. Just saying. Look, it is an interesting one. I still think he should be number 1 just because he was the chosen one and brought balance back to the Force and saved the Jedi. In doing what he did, he destroyed the previous Jedi Order. and that was also what was wrong with the Jedi at that time, and brought them into the new era of, okay, I don't know what the fuck, okay, well, the new era of where Luke Skywalker would have taken over. We're not going to go into the whole fucking Ben Solo, Rey, whole shenanigans movie and how fuck all actually happened after Luke Skywalker took over and he had one apprentice and the whole world went to shit. But yes, what we thought would have happened.
And at the end of the day, he redeemed himself by killing Palpatine and bringing balance to the Force. I focused on the Force aspect of being Jedi a lot earlier in this video, and I think it counts for a lot. Anyway, flame me in the comments if you want, but I think 11th is a solid place for Anakin, right outside the top 10. Could have been a
Jaime would be number 1 in my books. Okay, so top 10. We still haven't hit Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Yoda. Okay, we expected those 4 to be pretty high in fairness, I do think. I don't know. Oh, and Luke. Sorry, fucking forgot about that. So we've got those top 5 still left. Now, but who the fuck are the other 5?
But a lot held him back. Entering the top 10 now, these are by far the best Jedi of all time. First up, I've got Master Shock T, the Jedi Master.
Literally the person I spoke about. Also, in fairness, Qui-Gon can't be that high because he just didn't do that much. Cool character, embodied I think what the Force should have been, but didn't really accomplish much.
Master that has died more times than we can count. No, but seriously.
Yeah, she's the bitch that started 3, so I'm not Ada Sakura, sorry.
The reason why I've got Shock T this far up on the list is because of her vital role in the Clone Wars. Shock T was stationed on Kamino to oversee the training of clone cadets. She made sure that young clones were treated as human beings, not droids being sent out to war. She was able to see unique traits in each and every clone, and she also believed in giving the clones second chances, contrary to the harsh system the bounty hunter trainers had in place. Because of that, she's a big reason why Domino Squad, which included future ARC Troopers 5s and Echo, were able to complete their training. In Domino Squad's training, we see Shock T's wisdom and patience when dealing with the young clones. She also opposed the Kaminoans' ruthless methods of dealing with clones. When the Kaminoans wanted to terminate 5s, Shock T opposed it and saved 5s. She was also a big part of
I feel like I'd have a lot more attachment to any of these people if I actually watched the series they were in.
protecting and defending Kamino against the Separatist invasion in an attempt to steal Jango Fett's DNA. Throughout the invasion, she remained calm and collected as she directed the defense. That's a good way to start off the top 10. And coming in at number 9, I have Caleb Doom. Wait, who's that? Oh, you probably know him as Kanan Jarrus. I know some of you are already
Yeah, more Rebels people that I don't know.
thinking about his.
I know it's Rebels because there's the weird... When I said cheap dolls, like you remember those weird fucking... I don't even know what you call them. It looked like fucking almost like a sack that just had like stuffing in them. That is what they look like. They're designed as fucking characters.
Relationship with Hera. Isn't that completely breaking the Jedi code? Maybe it does from a certain point of view.
Now it doesn't, but when it was with other people, it did.
However, when you think about it, not having attachments means letting someone or something be too important. When the time comes, you can't let them go. This is what happens with Anakin and Padme. Pretty much every bad thing that Anakin does is on the pretense of his love and attachment to Padme. Kanan is the polar opposite of this. His love for Hera is a relationship that strengthens him and makes him better, and when the time came, he let go and sacrificed himself. Being a Jedi is more than just following the Jedi code to the letter. It's about a person's journey.
Pretty sure he
with the
just
light
complained
side.
about that earlier, and I'm
The
not
code
just
is simply
referring to
a
Anakin and Padme.
guidelines that prevent someone from falling into the dark side. While it's not canon, Luke Skywalker marries Mara Jade and starts a family. I think this is also a great example of how a dedicated light side user can still have romantic relationships. It draws them closer to the Force.
I've no issues with relationships, but I do think it actually could be very beneficial to have that person in your life to help stabilize and create an attachment. Like, I'm gonna bring those up again, but the fucking said I was listening to the Darth Sidious novels, Darth Bane novels. The same writer wrote those, has written Revan novels, and that's the whole argument is that Revan's marriage to Bastila has made him a Jedi again. His attachment to her brought him back to the light side. Which, if you don't know what I'm speaking about, fucking play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Old ass game, fucking still one of the best Star Wars games ever made.
Not towards the dark side. This makes Kanan a much better Jedi. All of that aside, Kanan is also a great Jedi as a mentor to Ezra and as the leader of the Ghost crew. He was always patient with Ezra, despite how annoying Ezra is, like I said earlier. Despite having not much formal Jedi training, Kanan was extremely competent in lightsaber combat too. He knew 3 different lightsaber forms, and he personally defeated the Grand Inquisitor. In sharp contrast to Kanan,
I've no idea who
Jedi
these
on
people
my
are.
list is Mace Windu. Man, Samuel L. Jackson
Ooh,
with the
8.
purple lightsaber just never gets old. There's so many great things I could say about Mace. So let me tell
Okay, so we've, of the big 5, we now 1 down.
you why he's not ranked any higher on this list.
Because he
Being a
doesn't-
Jedi
In fairness, he doesn't really do anything, and also he sets Anakin on his path of self-destruction.
is more than just following the Jedi code to the letter. Unfortunately for Mace, this is often how he saw being a Jedi. To his credit, Mace is extremely disciplined and does things by the book, but in trying
Excuse me?
to do everything correctly, Mace lost his compassion and connection to the light side. Just like Ki-Adi-Mundi, who focused on logic, Mace didn't allow the light side to guide his path. The Clone Wars
I was about to say that. Half his argument all the time is he's trying to use logic, he's not trying to think with the Force. And he slaughters people pretty openly.
only served to highlight these negative traits in Mace. His only focus was on winning the war. Mace wasn't really worried about the potential cost to the Republic or the Separatists. It was all about defeating the bad guys, which is not the Jedi way at all. And most importantly, his obsession with the rules destroyed his relationship with Anakin. Mace only saw Anakin as an annoyance, maybe even a threat, instead of another human and a Jedi in need of mentorship. Mace is one of the main factors that helps Anakin turn to the dark side. With all of that in mind, I just can't rank Mace any higher than 8th, especially with all of the great Jedi we've got coming up, like my man Kit Fisto. Kit Fisto is a super
I spoke about Kit Fisto earlier.
fun Jedi. He's laid back and easygoing, but he can also be super intense and observant. Mace Windu, one of the best duelists in the Order, claimed Kit Fisto was among the greatest duelists of all time. He was adept at using 1 or 2 lightsabers in combat, and we see that on display.
Okay, cool points for using 2. Never knew you did that.
With his unique fighting style when he dueled Grievous. He fought Grievous on multiple occasions, and one time he even cut Grievous's legs off. Kit Fisto was also a critical part of the underwater war on Mos
I was about to
Espa
say.
in Clone Wars Season 4. Since Kit's species had the ability to breathe underwater, he was one of the logical choices to help Anakin and Ahsoka
Was there an amphibious race? That's what I would like to know.
defeating the Separatists. Of course, given Kit's skills and achievements, he was a natural selection for the Jedi Council. While not all Council members are created equally, it
We haven't done Plo Koon either, actually, now that I bring that up. Did we do? I don't think we've done Plo Koon.
definitely means you're a better Jedi than most. The most important thing, of course, is that Kit Fisto was truly committed to the light side.
Is that the top 6 now? No, we're missing 1. I don't think we've done Plo Koon. We still have Qui-Gon, Yoda, Luke, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon.
Out of the Force. That is a defining trait of our next Jedi, Ahsoka Tano. She's easily one of the most skilled fighters in the Order. Ahsoka went on more military missions than pretty much anyone, and stood
Does she
toe-to-toe with
deserve to be
warriors
this high?
Maul, Ventress, and more.
Like I said, I haven't watched either show she's in, her own one and the Clone Wars show. But does she really deserve to be this high?
She's also extremely compassionate and caring for others, particularly those in need. Whether it was innocents caught in the war, her clone subordinates, or people enslaved by the Zygerians, Ahsoka cared for everyone. Throughout her life, she demonstrates selfless giving of herself, time and time again. And yes, she left the Order, but for good reason. She saw how the Order had become corrupted by Jedi like Ki-Adi-Mundi. She realized that the only way to pursue her future in the light side of the Force was to leave completely. To stay would be
Or because, you know, you went in any movie, so you had to have some excuse not to be part of it anymore.
to her. In this, she displays her commitment to being a Jedi. She's one of the few people that truly embodies what it means to be a Jedi. Qui-Gon Jinn did the same, but to a lesser extent. He rejected an offer to join the Jedi Council because he knew it wasn't good for him. He recognized that the Force had a different path for him, and his views clashed with that of the Council. For example, the Jedi had no problem with the Republic turning a blind eye to slavery within its borders or in the galaxy at large. Qui-Gon thought something should be done about this. We see this in his interactions with Anakin and Shmi. Qui-Gon wanted to free both of them, not just Anakin. But why did Qui-Gon hold such unique views? That's because Qui-Gon was among the most well-connected to the Force. He was known as a wise, spiritually oriented Jedi, and that's what led him to Tatooine to discover Anakin. He understood and believed the prophecy of the Chosen One, even when no one else did. He was the crazy one in the room for actually understanding the Force, which is a big indicator of how far the Order
So he was basically the
As a
fucking
result of that
extremist.
understanding, Qui-Gon was the first Jedi to become a Force ghost, and he even taught Yoda and Obi-Wan how to do the same. Unfortunately, Qui-Gon was not as adept at lightsaber combat as some other Jedi, as we see in his duel with Maul. This is mainly due to the fact that in Qui-Gon's time, Jedi didn't have to fight much.
I was about to say, I don't think any of them was... That was like the time... So they didn't actually ever really duel.
So in his duel with Maul, we have to remember that Maul was in his prime, with a never-seen-before fighting style, while Qui-Gon was older and weaker than he would have been in years past.
And Maul was reared as a fucking... Like a Jedi assassin, basically. That was his purpose. That was what he was going to do. His job was to kill fucking Jedi. So he would have been trained a lot more honed in that than even the greatest of Jedi, because that's not what they practiced.
In contrast, one of Qui-Gon's closest friends, Plo Koon, was extremely
Aha, Plo Koon.
skilled at fighting, and gained a ton of combat experience in the
So we've got in the last, so now we know we're down to the big 4. Luke. Oh, fuck. Luke, Obi-Wan, Yoda. That means I'm missing 1.
Clone Wars. The two were close because Plo was empathetic of Qui-Gon's plight. Plo shared many views with Qui-Gon, but saw it as his duty to serve on the council anyway. But he understood Qui-Gon's reasoning for not wanting to join, unlike the other council members. Plo was also a member to Ahsoka. In many ways, they had a relationship like that of a father and a daughter, so many of her best traits were acquired from him. He was also exceptionally caring and a compassionate leader. As such, his clones in the Wolfpack loved and respected him, because he knew them by name and sought out their well-being. His clones even went as far as to paint Plo's face on the side of the battalion's gunships with the inscription, Plo's Bros. The clones were like family to him. That's what makes his death so much more emotional at Order 66, because he never knew that they were doing it against their will. And with that, we're in the top 3. The third best Jedi.
Oh, so now it's Obi-Wan, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Luke, Yoda. What do we think these are coming out in? He's already said he thinks Obi-Wan is exemplifies all the Jedi, so I'm assuming he's going to put Obi-Wan 1. Now do you go Luke or Yoda 3 and 4? Surely Yoda is lower down because he let what happened to the Jedi happen to the Jedi. As much as, yes, he trained Luke and he kind of redeemed himself, the Jedi fell into disarray under like his guidance.
Jedi of all is Master Yoda, the only Grand Master of the Order and the leader of the Jedi Council. Yoda did a lot. He was extremely wise and one of the most powerful, Force-sensitive beings to ever exist. Need I say more? He survived Order 66 and a duel with Sidious, and managed to stay alive long enough to train Luke Skywalker, so that Luke was prepared to take on Vader and eventually Palpatine himself. Speaking of which, Luke is actually the second best Jedi on my list. Sure, Luke didn't receive any formal Jedi training like most. Most of his power
Okay, so we guessed the order right.
is left untapped in the original movies. He is not the best duelist or the wisest Jedi, but this is his advantage. Luke is incredibly pure in his motives and decision-making. He really wants nothing more than to save his friends and the rebellion, and he'll do whatever it takes to accomplish that. Because he was never tainted by the corruption of the Jedi Order, Luke, like Ahsoka, is free to be closer to the light side of the Force. That's what brings him so much power. Through that, Luke, with help from Vader, is the only person who was able to defeat Darth Sidious, despite multiple attempts by those who came before him, including Yoda. Luke helps fulfill the prophecy about Anakin and restores balance to the Force, which is the single most important event in the Star Wars saga. There's really no better Jedi than Luke, except for one. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the archetype of the perfect Jedi. He's clever, incredibly...
I feel like that's a bit of an interesting take to put Obi-Wan first. I think he's everyone's favorite Jedi, sure.
disciplined, patient, and most of all, he cares about the greater good with no thought of himself. Obi-Wan fought...
Also, I think did have pretty much the best story arc in all of Star Wars. Can we not get it? We deserve another fucking Kenobi. I don't mean Kenobi like the show Kenobi. I mean Kenobi like another Kenobi character. Fucking Rey Palpatine or Rey Sidious or Rey fucking Skywalker, whatever her bullshit name was. Could someone not just be a Kenobi?
More villains than anyone, whether it was Maul, Dooku, Grievous, Savage, Vader, you name it. He beat them more often than not, and when he didn't, he trusted that things would work out. And when his world came crashing down around him after Order 66, he didn't let that phase him. He stayed focused on the path ahead of him. The thing is, Obi-Wan always trusted the Force, despite all the things that happened to him. In my opinion,
And that was such a cool fucking dope scene, where he just turns the Force ghost. And it almost reminds you of fucking, or was, I guess, the inspiration for Luke's fucking scene in whatever the new movies are, where he's also like a fucking ghost and not a real person.
That's the most important part of being a Jedi. If you like this video, you should check out the one on the screen. I know you'll love it.
That was a pretty cool video. Fuck, I went off it by mistake. My bad.
Have you ever thought about who the worst Jedi...
That was by Master Eli. We're probably going to do this one next, actually. I thought was just cooler. That was a pretty cool video. I will link it down in the description below. Link it in chat. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Show the guys some love. Check out the original video. And I guess we're going to some gamey games now.